Hey, Len Poland, happy birthday.
Thank you, Paul.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I'm good, doing well.
Another year around the sun.
I'll have a birthday in not too long.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My birthday is on December 25th.
Oh my gosh. That is the day, isn't it? That's awesome.
You get double presents that way.
Yeah.
Wow.
You gonna get the same thing you got last year? Nothing?
Probably.
You're not 2021 years old, are you?
No. This one is sort of a big one. This is 8-0.
Got you beat.
How much have you got me beat, Carl?
5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not there yet, but I'm catching up.
Okay.
Looks like you're doing well.
You know, I am doing well. All my tests and everything have been coming out really good, and I've been losing weight, which is nice. I get to walk every day in my neighborhood, so that's helping. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, I'm not, I'm about where I'm going to be. I'm not going to be, like I was, but as other people have reminded me, I'm not getting younger, so part of this could be just getting older. But I got to say, I'm pretty happy with the way things have been. I've been very fortunate.
Oh, yeah, I got the brochure today.
Sorry?
Holly. Turn it on.
He's talking to Lowry?
I think he's talking to Paul.
Oh, Paul.
Hi. How are you, Lowry?
Very well, thank you.
How's Charlie and Justin and Heather?
Hey, Carl.
There you go.
Hey guys, well you really look like a lumberjack, Lowry.
I'm getting there.
You need a red flannel shirt on you.
I'm going to go for the Davy Jones.
There you go.
Big dreads, chicken bones, and crab claws.
So I used to work with a guy who every year did St. Baldrick's in March. He would grow his beard and his hair, and he sponsored this event where they would shave their heads to raise money for children with cancer. And one year he grew his beard so long, he had my daughter braid it and put beads in it. It was a treat to watch.
I want to see if I can get to that place by July. It's only going to go on until July. I can't let it go on forever. But
it'll be hot and itchy in July.
Yeah.
It hadn't been so bad. It's usually it doesn't get this long. I just can't scratch it. But now I've got all the stuff. I've got the oils and the conditioners and the waxes and.
Oh, the beard balm.
Does that make it grow?
Well, it makes it.
What
so
about the
I don't want
top?
to rip it off my face.
No. What about your head?
No, I'm
Up
gonna
on
keep
top.
that short. I like that.
Oh, okay.
He's grown it out so he can comb it up over his head, Carl.
Yeah, okay.
No, that comb over was getting a little bit ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He starts doing that, we're going to be calling him Cousin Ed.
Right?
Hey, Lynn.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at my video of me, I see that my United Pursuit Virginia basketball national championships looks backwards. Does it look backwards to you?
Yeah. So what you want to do is that on the bottom, down the bottom left corner, where you can actually, see where it says stop video? Right-click that arrow there.
Okay. I see stop video. All right.
Don't stop your video though. So
okay.
But that little arrow to the right of that, click.
Share content.
Click that, and then click on videos. Right to the right of where it says stop video. Right to the right of that, there's an up arrow.
Yeah, it says share content.
No, no, not that one. So right next to stop video, there's a little up arrow, and If you click on the up
Not,
arrow,
not on my iPad.
okay. Yeah, see, I'm not an iPad guy, but if you can find a place
New
that says
Rotary meeting.
video
Check it and see
settings,
what's going on there today.
right, and you click on video settings, there's a checkbox that says mirror
I,
my
s-
video.
I see something that says meeting settings, virtual background.
Christa Jones, who's the
Do you have,
dietitian out at
you have a video settings?
Augusta.
Hey, Dr. Kessler, you're on a hot mic.
No, but it's not that big a deal. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, so there's a checkbox that says
I
mirror
don't
my
know
video.
who that is.
And like I just
can't-
clicked it, see how mine
It's actually his
reversed?
parent. Their kids are being
Yeah.
college.
See, that's what that does. So if you mirror
And I
my
was on the
video,
principal named Chris.
then you get,
They'll be saying.
it'll get
She
the right
worked with
way.
the hospital.
Hang on, I gotta
know
take
what
this
she did,
call
but I
here.
think she was a nurse, so. I'm a little curious, it might be the same person.
They're like my new body.
Jeff, you're on a hot mic.
No, Lowry Tucker.
Yeah.
Lowry owns Conservation Services up on Delphi.
They're gonna become-
He has the most massive beard. I've
That's
ever
right.
heard. I just shave it and grow
Yeah.
it. He is, in fact, somebody last week said, Lowry is the only person I know that can grow a mask. I mean, his beard is just,
Hey, Chad,
Yes, sir.
you left the office real early to go to Rotary.
Oh, yeah.
I was over there looking for you. Couldn't find you.
Oh, I had to run home and get something to eat first.
Oh, that's
talking about
good.
your beard there, Lowry.
I can hear you.
Give me a call sometime this afternoon if you would, Chad.
Okay, will do.
Thank you.
Let me write that down so I don't forget.
Hey, Carl, did Chuck give you the brochure I left
He
there?
sure
yesterday?
did. Yes, thank you.
I think it'd be great advertisement.
No, I think I'd like to pay off today.
Water right now?
Hey, Lowry,
Yes, sir.
so, when announcements, do they follow Happy Dollars or, before?
After. They're the last thing before the program.
Okay.
Lynn, how's the fishing?
Pardon me?
I was asking Lynn how the fishing is. Has all his boats lined up.
That does look like a nice place to be. Carl, how's the price of building materials? Is that starting to come back down?
Few things are coming back, but basically they're still up. The rest of treated material is taking the biggest hit.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time getting my steaks. There's a long line at the treatment plant.
Yeah.
The Wi-Fi here also. It's crazy. Ooh. She's bringing something to do. Oh, no, it's all. There was a lot involved with that insurance. What to do, what not to do. When you do, it costs. Is there a bottom line figure? Didn't see it.
let's get started.
Yeah, let's do it.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. I missed you, and I'm glad to be back. I am very thankful for Larry for taking care of things last week, and I'd like to go ahead and call our meeting to order. Please stand, join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Chad Hatter has our invocation.
Pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to take time out of our busy schedules to meet together today, whether it's in person or virtually. Thank you for what this club means to our community and for the leadership that Rebecca's provided this past year, as well as everyone else on the board and in leadership positions. We ask that you please be with all those affected by this ongoing pandemic. Please be with our local, state, and national leaders and help guide them to make the right decisions. In spite of all this, please help us to be mindful of all our many blessings. In Jesus' name, amen.
Tracy has our song.
Because you know I'm all about that bass, more butter. I'm all about that bass, more butter. I'm all about that bass, more butter. I'm all about that bass, bass. On Thanksgiving Day, I think it's pretty true. Us guys can't make it like we're supposed to do. The dining room, we have no taste. We put all the wrong forks in all the wrong places. I see the magazines with all the recipes. My daughter, she could make it, but me?
Daddy, please.
So mommy hands me this and says you gotta stop till every inch of it is perfect from the bottom to the top. Oh yeah, mama, she told me don't worry about the pie. Don't worry. She said I'd burn them because I screw up everything I try. He cannot cook it. He's gonna She said your stuffing is dry and your casserole's made of wrong. It looks like pudding. Disgusting. So get this baster and timer and go ahead and move along. And so I'm all about that bass, more butter. I'm all about that bass, more butter. I'm all about that bass, more butter. I'm all about that bass. Oh, I'm bringing butter back. Don't try to wear those skinny britches now, 'cause I'm gonna pour this all over there. And I'm here to tell you every inch of it is perfect from the bottom to the top. Yeah.
That's our last shot.
That's our last shot. Yeah.
If you haven't seen the Holderness family on social media, you should look them up. They're great. All right. Margaret has our introduction to visiting Rotarians and guests.
We actually don't have any. We have none today.
Okay, no visiting Rotarians, not on Zoom either. Okay, thank you. Happy dollars. Thankful thoughts for Thanksgiving. Francine?
I'm very happy this morning to get my new Rotary shirt in the color blue. You can see Charlie in the yellow one. So if you have one in yellow and would like one in blue, you can still order them from Theo.
Very good. Happy dollars, Dick.
I'd like to wish Lynn Poulin happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Anyone on Zoom? Okay, you're just too happy to share. Okay. Secretary's minutes, there are none today. Announcements, no new meeting next week, November 26th in observance of Thanksgiving. Saturday, December 5th is our second strategic planning retreat. And December 3rd, which is in 2 weeks, so the week when we get back after Thanksgiving, AJ Young of Poor People's Campaign will be coming to visit to pick up our collected coats and winter wear. So we really have 2 weeks. On the newsletter. It said November 30, but that's our date, December 3rd. Please let me know if you need to arrange a pickup or a drop-off. I believe Charlie has an announcement.
Charlie, you have to unmute, Charlie.
We can't hear your bell.
I'm
Much better.
wearing a different hat and ringing a bell. So, first of all, I want everybody to take a look at the email that Rebecca sent out. And I'll just read it so everybody knows in case you didn't get it. Below you'll find the link to the sign-up genius for the year's Salvation Army bell ringing at both doors of Walmart Superstore. Our club has committed to the first 2 weekends in December, and we ask your help to fulfill our obligation. The Salvation Army is working to change lives through Waynesboro and East Augusta County. Through the Red Kettle campaign, they are able to provide a better Christmas for hundreds of local families and continue to serve families in need throughout the year. You will be able to register to ring by clicking on the link below. So if you'll look at your email, you can click on the link and sign up. We really need to fulfill this obligation. And I'm combining this message with somewhat of a happy dollar. Tuesday night, I spent a little over 2 hours ringing a bell at the Big Lots entrance. Although traffic was modest, the generosity of so many of the folks entering the store was extremely heartwarming. Any warming that night was welcome. We are fortunate to live in a community where people want to help those who are in need, especially during these disconcerting times. The spirit of Christmas is alive and well here. Our Salvation Army website, and you can Google the Waynesboro Salvation Army website, has many open slots for ringing this week, the remainder of this week at Big Lots, and starting Saturday at both Walmarts, Kroger, and Food Line. I encourage you to try ringing for a couple of hours and to let friends and neighbors know they are needed to ring also. Whether it's a small bit of change or a bill, or to seeing the generosity from young kids with their parents, young adults, and seniors is amazing. And almost all are given with a Merry Christmas greeting. I can't tell you how important it is for not only for us to participate as Rotarians, but just as a person that's able to give something to the community in really an easy way. The benefits you will receive from ringing a bell for an hour or two is absolutely incredible. And I would ask you to please, if you have any time between now and Christmas Eve, to spend an hour or two in one of these locations. Go to the, and this is in addition to what we've committed to as a club. Please consider doing that and ask friends and neighbors to do it also. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. I can't help but think that you strategically placed your UVA championship poster behind you in the background. That is a side note. Okay. Would Lieutenant Rachel please join me at the lectern? She was newly inducted last week by Larry. I just wanted to get the honor to give her her pin and her Rotary literature. And just another round of applause for welcoming Rachel. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for your support, Salvation Army.
All right, if Jeff Fife can come up and introduce our guest, our speaker.
I'm still trying to get used to seeing a 25-foot Charlie on the big screen. There we go. There's Charlie. Good to see you in that UVA championship banner for all those Hokies out there. Can you see that castle? Just asking. Anyways, my apologies. All about that bass. Boy, what an apropos song, considering we have a clinical dietitian here speaking with us today. So we're real excited to have Christa Jones joining us. She is clinical dietitian at Augusta Health, works as inpatient dietitian in the progressive care unit, inpatient rehabilitation, and at Crossroads, which is the psychiatric unit. She's worked at Augusta Health since September 2019, been a dietitian for 5 years, started a career at Augusta Health as a PRN dietitian, left to work full-time at UVA Medical Center, worked as a clinician nutrition manager at Westminster Canterbury of the Blue Ridge before returning back to Augusta Health. Completed a bachelor's degree in dietetics, how do I say it? Woo! At JMU, and completed her dietetic internship at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. Also certified as a precision nutrition level 1 health coach. Spare time, loves to cook, go for runs, spend time with a 4-year-old pit bull Lily. Please welcome Christa Jones.
Hello. All right, today I'm just going to talk about some tips that I wrote out to help combat gaining weight during the pandemic. Also applies to the holidays, but so I know that, you know, gaining weight has been an issue for some people since COVID started, having to be at home and things like that. So my first tip is meal planning. So without a structured, is that okay? Go ahead. Without a, you know, one good quote that a lot of people use is, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So meal planning is a really, really good tip to help not gain weight. So, you know, making a structured meal plan can help prevent you from overeating throughout the day, you know, grazing on snacks, and things like that. So an example of a eating schedule could be, you know, planning out what time you're gonna eat breakfast, your snacks, your lunch, and your dinner. This is also helpful if you are, instead of bored, but you could be really busy and you forget to eat. So some people, you know, spend all day working and then they eat dinner and they overeat because they didn't eat all day and then they realize they're starving. So it's also good to plan out times to eat, you know, if you're busy also. So some good tips for meal planning is to plan out for a few days at a time in advance. Some people do 3 days of the same kind of plan, or they plan it for a whole entire week. And then if you're someone who's really organized, writing it down on a calendar and having just a specific calendar for what you're going to eat every day, it also helps. So writing down your breakfasts, your lunch, your dinners, and your snacks for a whole week can help a lot with that. So my next tip is to keep healthy options handy. There's definitely a lot of healthier convenience foods that are helpful to keep on hand. Microwavable rice, frozen steamed vegetables. So when you're looking at, you know, steamed vegetable or frozen vegetables, picking the ones without sauces helps save some calories. And that way you have vegetables and healthier foods that you can make easily for dinners, along with like canned beans, microwavable quinoa. Prepping a whole bunch of hard-boiled eggs in the beginning of the week is a great snack to keep on hand for protein. And then that leads me to my next point, which is to keep healthy snacks handy too. So keeping healthy snacks that are high in fiber and protein will help you to not overeat at meal times or later in the day, because fiber and protein will fill you up a lot better. So some great options for that are nuts and cheese, Greek yogurts, vegetables and hummus, nut butters, whole grain crackers, and fruit. So one thing I know a lot of people have issues with, especially during the pandemic and having to be home all day, is getting bored. And I know a lot of people eat when they're bored because they don't know what to do. So keeping yourself busy can help prevent overeating throughout the day. Going for walks on the street, getting up and moving around your house, making sure you take breaks from work, You could complete other tasks around your house when you take breaks, such as, taking out your trash, washing your dishes, walking your dog. Keeping yourself busy can help you not snack as much also. And then a big thing with, preventing weight gain is practicing portion control, which seems a little obvious, but because America tends to have huge portions, people kind of don't understand what the correct portion is sometimes anymore. So a good thing to do is to start measuring out your portions when you're at home and putting them on a plate. It seems a little tedious at first, but the more you do it, you'll realize, what real portions are supposed to be, and that helps a lot to not overeat, especially portioning out snacks, not sitting down with a bag of, chips, putting chips into a bowl and seeing how much a portion size should really be helps a lot also. And then during this time, I know a lot of people are stress eating. This is really stressful for everyone. So kind of realizing what triggers you to stress eat, and then working on ways to, feel calm or help with the stress, go for walks, listen to music, relax. And then recognizing what foods you like to stress eat. I know that, telling people to not eat what they stress eat is kind of hard. I know people still want to eat things like that. And I don't want people to ever deprive themselves of things they like, but buying foods that are portioned out, that are your stress eat foods, can help too, like calorie portioned bags of popcorn or chips, lighter versions of foods, like getting frozen yogurt popsicles instead of, whole milk ice cream. Feels like you're still having ice cream, but it's a little healthier version. And then practice mindful eating. So this kind of goes with stress eating too. Some people, when they're stressed, they eat really quickly, and they're on the go in their car. But being mindful about how much you're eating, how you feel when you're eating. Are you actually full now? Instead of eating everything that you have on your plate or everything that you bought at a restaurant. And sitting down at the table, avoiding eating on the run, like I said, and then, avoiding distractions, turning the TV off, if you're watching TV or things or working on work. And then some people, it's hard for them to stop eating when they haven't eaten the whole plate yet, but recognizing when you're full versus when the food is all gone can help a lot as well. Some people tend to just feel like they have to clean the plate. I know a lot of people, grow up that way or learn that way, but sometimes you're not that hungry, and you could always save it for later. So, and then staying active. I know that's going to be a lot harder now with it getting colder, but you can also try scheduling activity, especially if you're working from home, throughout the day. Maybe every hour or every 2 hours you get up and you move around or walk down the street. That can help making sure you stay active, and then all those, activity calories you burn just doing normal activities throughout the day help to prevent you from gaining weight also. So some ideas, if you can't go outside because it's cold or it starts snowing or something, you could do some different movements around your house, like going up and down your steps or doing some jumping jacks or some squats, things like that. Just, once every hour or so can help you get some activity in. And then staying hydrated also really important. Some people tend to think they're hungry, but they're really just thirsty because they haven't had any fluids. So keeping, water nearby helps with that. Also, when it's colder, you don't drink as much water because you're not as hot, you don't feel as thirsty. So some people have a lot of issues with dehydration in the winter because you don't feel the need to drink as much liquids. So keeping a drink next to you all day helps. Having like a goal set for how much fluid you want to have every day is also helpful if you're someone who likes to track things. So at Augusta Health, we don't actually have any programs specifically just for obesity, but they have a lot of programs at the outpatient program. And these are the things that they offer. They have the Blue Ridge Healthy You Prevent T2 program, the diabetes prevention classes, You can have individual sessions with a dietitian. You need a referral for that from a doctor, and then diabetes workshop series. So I'll explain to you what the Blue Ridge Healthy You program is. So the Prevent T2 stands for Prevent Type 2 Diabetes, but it's a CDC recognized lifestyle change structured program developed specifically to prevent type 2 diabetes. It is designed for people who have pre-diabetes or at risk for type 2 diabetes, so not already diagnosed diabetes, type 2. A trained lifestyle coach leads the program to help you change certain aspects of your lifestyle, like eating healthier, reducing stress, getting more physical activity. The program also includes group support. And then this lifestyle change program is not a fad diet or an exercise class. It's not a quick fix. It actually lasts for 12 months. It's focused on long-term changes and lasting results. And then during the first half of the program, you learn to eat healthy without giving up all the foods you love, add physical activity to your life, deal with stress, cope with challenges, and get back on track. In the second half, you'll enhance the skills you've learned so you can maintain the changes. And the eligibility requirements are you have to be at least 18. You have to be overweight, which just means your BMI has to be greater than or equal to 25. And you can't be pregnant. You have no previous diagnosis of type 1 or type 2. Have a blood test result in the pre-diabetic stage within the past year, so a hemoglobin A1C of 5.7 to 6.4, or fasting blood plasma glucose of 100 to 125, or a 2-hour plasma glucose of 140 to 199. Have a previous clinical diagnosis of gestational diabetes, or take the pre-diabetes risk test. And then, so Kathy Berger is the dietitian that's in charge of that. So that is her contact information if you are interested. I asked the outpatient office when they're starting again. They're starting again in January with a new program session. If anyone is interested, it should start again soon. So for the month of December, I included all the events that they have. They have the continuous glucose monitor workshop, diabetes prevention program, which is the one we just talked about, the diabetes prevention classes. And so these are all, right now, they are on WebEx, so they're all virtual. The diabetes support group, individual sessions, and the diabetes workshop, those two require a referral. But if you wanted to register for any of these, you can contact the outpatient office. Linda Peters is the secretary, and she would set you up for registering for any of these programs. And does anyone have any questions at all? No? Okay.
Yeah, Laura,
Oh,
you're muted.
yeah.
What do you think about the Noom app?
About the what? I'm sorry?
Noom, N-O-O-M.
Oh, Noom. I don't know anyone personally that has done it, but I do know that it's set up. So when I worked at UVA, I worked for their employee wellness program, and you have an advocate that sets goals with you and calls you and talks to you on the phone, which is what I feel like Zoom is, set up to be like, I think, where you have a person that actually coaches you and helps you with your goals, which is great. I don't know I've never heard any negative feedback about it, but I don't know that much feedback about it, but it seems like it would be a really great program to try.
My wife has been doing it for a while, and she's super into it.
Oh,
I just want
okay.
to know that it holds up to the science.
Yeah, well, I do know that I've known some dietitians who had worked there as dietitians, so I do think that they have, knowledgeable staff and everything there. So it's great that she loves it. That's great.
Thanks.
I've got a question.
Mm-hmm.
So I had some health issues about 5-6 years ago and was on several different restrictions, and one of them was sodium restriction. So I got very in tune to reading labels, in particular when going out to eat. So what could you tell us about the difference between cooking at home and maybe some of the things that we should be looking out for when we go to restaurants to eat?
If you're watching sodium specifically or just in general?
Or sodium, calories, fats, I mean, anything that's related. I know that you address the portion size thing, which is
Yeah.
typically large portions in restaurants and stuff. But I was just, I guess, a revelation for me when I started reading or looking at the dietary, nutritional stuff that the restaurants post to say, oh my gosh, it's kind of some of the stuff. I mean, it's really, they're killing you when you think about it.
I know. We start looking at it, sometimes there's meals that over 1,000 calories just for, one meal at a restaurant, which is basically almost your whole day worth of eating. But at restaurants, it's a lot of things that have a lot of salt in them, which you probably noticed when you were doing your fluid or your sodium restriction. But when you're going out to restaurants, avoiding things that are fried is a big one. So always asking for things that are grilled. You can always ask for things to, not be seasoned. If you're getting like chicken or salmon or something like that, isn't breaded or anything. And then you can season it yourself so that it won't be, super salty. So that's one thing that you can do. Getting vegetables without sauces on them. You can always ask your servers questions, like not to do that. I used to be a server for a long time before I was a dietitian, and I would get people ask for, not any seasoning on things all the time, and it's really not that big of a deal. I know some people don't like to ask for things like that, but definitely can always ask. I wouldn't be afraid, because a lot of things also have so much oil in them at restaurants. So that's another thing that you could ask would be, for your chicken or something to not be made with oil or seasoning, and then season it yourself at the table. That's a big one, because the amount of fat and salt and everything at restaurants is a lot. So, asking for, go ahead, sorry.
I was just amazed when, I figured, probably going to have pancakes at Cracker Barrel would be a pretty safe bet until I read their nutritional stuff. Each pancake's got like 300 or 400 milligrams of salt in it.
Yeah.
Yep. Flavor. And I don't understand why you would put salt in pancakes anyways.
Well, actually, you put salt in pancake mix and biscuit mix and oatmeal. There's lots of things you put salt in, but they put a lot in it. Plus, when they cook things like that, I don't know about Cracker Barrel specifically, but, places a lot of times grease the, whatever they're going to cook, but then they do it in between each one, so they really don't need to be putting it on every single time, because it probably won't stick to it. But the amount that they keep putting on it and making it constantly, it just, layers up on the grill or whatever they're using to make it. And then they give you so much butter and things like that to put on top of it when it's already probably has a ton of butter on it from cooking it.
So a normal healthy person, this excessive sodium because I know there's one dish at a restaurant, I guess I won't name the name just to protect the innocent, but it was a chicken queso wrap, and I would have thought that would have been a right healthy option. And then you read the details, and it's 8,500 milligrams of salt or sodium.
From the,
and when you consider that the recommended daily intake is 2,000, right?
Yeah.
So what is this excessive sodium intake for a normal healthy person? What kind of impact would that have on somebody's health?
It really depends on, someone who doesn't have any type of health issue. Sodium, how much sodium you can have depends on your fitness level also, how active you are, because you lose a lot of sweat or sodium through sweating. So for athletes, they actually need a lot of sodium. So it really depends on the person. But it is really hard if you are on a sodium restriction, to ever go out to eat. It's basically the easiest thing to do it's not easy, honestly, because you want to go out to eat. But, the best thing for a sodium restriction is to eat at home and use salt-free seasoning. That makes it really hard, though, to ever socialize, but it's really stressful.
So if anybody's interested, I found out that Five Guys hamburgers have the least amount of sodium of all the fast food hamburger places. Just a little side note.
Yeah, well, I used to work at, I don't know if anyone goes to Harrisonburg, but I used to work at the Jack Brown's in Harrisonburg, which is burgers. But they salt and pepper every single burger when they put it down on the grill. So but there's a ton of it on there, and then they salt and pepper all the French fries in a huge container, and so it's like overly salted. So you can always, if you go there, you can ask for not any salt and pepper on there, because we used to get people all the time ask for it to be left off of theirs. But
So I don't want to dominate this, but I'll just keep on going. I just got another question. So in our local area, how big of a problem is obesity, and where do you see it in terms of the demographics? Can you address that?
In this is bad. I don't live in Waynesboro. I live in
Yeah.
Charlottesville, but so I don't know that much about actual Waynesboro besides the people I see in the hospital, which are people who are already sick. So,
Yeah.
but sorry, what was your question besides that again?
Well, I know that, I read that obesity is an issue in this
Oh.
country, and I was just
Yeah.
wondering, how big of a problem really is that in this region? It doesn't have to necessarily be in Waynesboro. And then what does, your industry or your line of, all the people that are in your group, what do you guys, what do you believe is causing that? I mean, is there anything that just comes right out to say, this is what's creating this crisis?
Well, it depends a lot of times on what kind of town it is. Like in a rural community, it depends sometimes. A lot of people can be overweight because of, the food that's available or the culture of the town. A lot of people in southern states and southern towns, the culture is to eat foods that tend to be high in fat and sodium versus different, places that eat more fresh vegetables or fruit or fish. So it really depends, I think, a lot on the geographic region. But here it is more rural, I would say, compared to Charlottesville has a huge population of people that are really active and buy a lot of organic food and go to farmers markets and things like that. So in comparison to Charlottesville and here, I feel like that is one difference. Just the people that live there in the town, the way the town is, it's a little different in that kind of way. Like our grocery stores are different. We have a lot of organic grocery stores like Whole Foods and small organic stores that really push that kind of thing, like juice. We have a ton of juice restaurants and salad restaurants, compared to here, which doesn't have the same type of things, if that makes sense.
Christa, with
Yeah, that does. I spent quite a bit of time in Chile some years ago, and I noticed down there that their diet was, not so much fatty foods, very few fried foods, other than the papa fritos. They love their French fries down there, but a lot of guacamole. Everything you would get had a guacamole spread on it, or the salads would have sliced guacamole on it. And I just noticed that just culturally, it was a different type of diet, so to speak. And most of the people there were fairly, there wasn't that much obesity in that culture.
Well, if you are interested in reading about stuff like that, the blue zones are the ones that have the longest living people, and they're one place in California, but the Mediterranean are all in the blue zones, and those are the ones that have the healthiest people. But it's just interesting, when you compare other countries to America, too, especially what kind of foods that they have versus us, especially in the healthier countries. They eat a lot of healthier fats and not fried foods and not big portions and not, as many times in a day as America and things like that.
Christa, question from the audience here. With Thanksgiving coming up around the corner, how much turkey is too much turkey? What are the things that are the traditional holiday foods that we should maybe avoid or less portion size once Thanksgiving turns the corner?
Well, the best things when you're going to, a buffet or someone's house where there's tons of options is to always pick the protein and vegetable sources first before you eat a lot of the carb heavier foods. And then to choose things that are lower in fat, There are some different alternatives that some people eat now. If you don't want to make normal mashed potatoes, they have cauliflower mashed potatoes or, different types of stuffing that don't have bread in them. Making your own cranberry sauce can take away how much sugar is in it. So there's different healthier versions of things if you wanted to do that, but always filling up your plate with the turkey is good. with different like salad and vegetables before you go for, you know, the carb heavier foods. And to try to like just be aware of how many times you're going back for servings, you know, not just eating things around instead of making a plate, you know, trying to just have little portions of desserts if you want to have multiple desserts. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you. Anybody else in the audience while I have the stick?
Okay. She said time for one more. I don't know if anyone heard you. Does anyone have another question? No? Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us, Christa. Go home and get my stretch pants out. All right, so no guests or visiting returns today. Final announcements, please pick up your t-shirts from Thea if you've had ordered them already. And next week, no meeting. We'll just reconvene on December 3rd for our club assembly. Please stand for the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, first, second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Have a safe and happy Thanksgiving.